Hi, I'm Jordan with The Good Ride, and I finally got this Colorado girl on some Never Summer boards. I'm hoping that they'll live up to the hype. So I had the opportunity to ride all of the women's Never Summer line, and I actually rode them in progression, starting with twins, moving all the way up to the directional. This was the first board that I got to get on, the Never Summer Breezy Rider. Pros of the Breezy Rider from Never Summer: super fast, quick turning, wonderful edge hold. This was a very playful experience. Definitely lent itself to the wonderful features, natural features that we see at Mount Bachelor. Cons: I can definitely feel their unique camber profile, that triple camber. I am accustomed to normal camber, and this took some getting used to. It was a little bit trickier on tracked out and terrain and off-piste terrain. Board's not really designed for that, and that kind of showed. It also has a tendency to initiate and release turns when I was not entirely asking it to. So felt a little bit more like I was a passenger on this board instead of the person controlling it. I got to ride this on groomed terrain as well as some packed out, softer powder conditions off-piste. I rode these with the Trilogy binding in a size medium and the Dialogue boot from Solomon in a men's size 7. The Good Ride, we have objective and honest reviews with no company oversight. So Never Summer did not pay us to ride these. They sent them to us, we send them back. This is all made possible by our sponsors, thanks to Blower out of Big Bear. Blower has been around selling snowboards almost as long as I've been on this planet. So I really appreciate any company that is going to be core, true to the bone when it comes to snowboarding. They have been supporting snowboarders longer than most resorts have been supporting snowboarders, so they are a great fit for us. So please go out there, support them. They have a wonderful online shop and in-store brick and mortar shop. I was able to get on a 148 for the Breezy Rider. This accommodates about a women's size 8 foot is what it's recommended. Interestingly, they also have a sizing recommendation for height. I'm kind of on the top end of that. This board's recommended to up to 5'4" to 5'6". I'm almost 5'7", with a weight range of between 100 and 150 pounds. So right in the middle, 130, 135. The Breezy Rider features a true twin asymmetrical shape. What that means is that the heel side edge here is actually going to be a different cut than the tail side. It also means that you are just going to set this up, heel side, and depending on if you're regular or goofy, you may go this direction, you may go that direction. Nice thing about this true twin is that you are just going to center yourself on the stance. My reference stance and my preferred reference stance is 19 inches, and I centered here, set me back about one whole pattern on the inserts to get that 19-inch centered on board feel. All right, let's talk about Never Summer's triple camber, which is going to be featured in all of their 2026 women's line. This is a very interesting camber profile, my first experience with triple camber. What it is characterized by is actually 3 points of camber. You're going to see one right here, one right in the center of the board, and one out here. In addition to that, they also have their reverse camber between the inserts. So how this is actually going to look, and it's kind of hard to see in here, it's sort of a stacking. You have a camber, reverse camber, and then a third camber profile in the center. This gave the board a very interesting on-snow feel. The best way I could describe it is like a reverse camber, but with some catchiness and holding of a camber board, so there was a little bit of confusion. When skating on this board, it felt like I was 1 foot on the board and only had that area underneath, so the back end of the tail of the board actually felt slightly lifted. This made it feel a little squirrely when skating through onto the lift and off the lift. Also when just skating to get set up onto the board. Once I actually did buckle in and ride, I was able to weight further out onto the board and feel slightly more comfortable, but it still gave this feeling and sensation of needing to force my feet out on the board. That sensation gave me a lot of insecurity. I kept feeling like I might catch an edge, even though I never did. It almost has a sensation like these cambers are sort of in conflict with each other. Not sure which one wants to do what, when it wants to do it. Once I was actually riding, this phenomenal edge hold on here gave this board a little bit more security and actually increased my confidence on the board. The turning of this is really where the board shines. Because this is a hybrid camber profile, I actually would recommend this for beginners all the way up to intermediate to advanced riders looking for a freestyle board. That reverse camber between the feet is going to help you as a beginner to initiate turns and learn how to do those turns. And then as you progress into more advanced, the flex profile, the turning experience on this is really going to let you have and enjoy this ride. So the Never Summer Breezy Rider is an asymmetrical twin. That means this is really not a board designed for powder conditions. Could you set your stance all the way back onto this and get a little bit more nose? Sure. Is your back leg going to be burning? Most definitely. That little bit of early rise that you actually see here, that's related to their reverse camber between there, might also help to kind of lift the nose and help you get through some smaller powder days, maybe 4 or 5 inches, and so you could have a good time. However, this is a softer flex, so I think that you're going to end up getting bucked around more than you're really going to enjoy. Let this board shine where it's meant to shine, which is in the freestyle world. So coming into riding Never Summer, I heard rumors of the edge hold on this board, and it did not disappoint. This board locks in. Once it gets on the edge, it really holds on to that edge. It initiates the turn quick, it comes out of that turn, you're locked in the whole time. You couple that with this asymmetrical, what they call a power grip progressive side cup. The turning experience was just super fun. I did not get this on icy conditions, but my experience on groomed and packed out conditions, I don't see why this wouldn't perform great on icy conditions. Where I would be curious is how someone's weight would play into the flex of this board, and if that edge hold would give way on harder conditions. I can only speculate at this point. Breezy Rider, this one is a pretty soft flex. They put it at their 4 scale. You're gonna see this here in that nose. It bounces quite a bit. Symmetrical ear, so nose and tail, they kind of are synonymous. If you're gonna flex this board right through the middle, you're gonna see quite a bit of movement here. And then that rebound, it's okay. Where you're gonna have the difficulty with the rebound, again, is manipulating those camber profiles outside of the foot. That is where you're gonna get a little bit more pop if you can really manipulate that camber. The turning experience on the Breezy Rider was kind of like Kung Fu. It was super fast, it was really quick, it was sharp. It had this fun, playful, quick action to it. The one issue I did find with that turning experience, and this may be a result of this camber profile, when I went to turn, it actually would almost grab into the turn before I was prepared. And when I went to come out of the turn, it almost would hold on to that turn before I was ready. This gave a little bit of a sensation of being sort of the passenger. I had to take a back seat to how the board wanted to react. As soon as I loosened up, kind of let that board hold and initiate those turns when it wanted to and release, I had a better experience. I didn't feel like I was in conflict with the board as much. Now, however, given this a little bit of a softer flex on this, I was able to overpower the board when I needed it to turn. I would be concerned that as the board gets stiffer, that catching and that kind of controlling element of this might start to feel insecure. The Breezy Rider has a sintered base. We were given this board with a factory wax on it. I never noticed the board sticking or slowing in the conditions that I rode on it. Pretty acceptable base glide. Not the fastest board I've ever ridden, but I was actually pretty pleased with its ability to maintain speed, keep speed even at lower pitched terrain. As with any sintered board, the more that you maintain this, the more you do weather-specific wax, the better it's going to get. Freestyle is the name of the game with the Breezy Rider. This board is really meant and designed for that rider that wants to ride switch, that wants to hit jumps, that wants to be playful and butter and have something easy underneath their feet. Because it's an ASIM, regardless of where you are on this, if you flip this around, it's going to feel symmetrical. Regular, goofy, doesn't matter. That really great effective edge and turning radius is going to let you come in and off of jumps with a strong edge hold and have really good edge pop. The one thing I did have a little bit of an issue with was loading into that back camber. Because of where the camber is located, it is slightly outside of the inserts. That made creating that pop and pushing through the camber of the tail a little bit tricky. Once I could get past that camber and actually get into the tail, it buttered great, but it just took a little bit of work to get over that camber and really flex into the camber profile. Would I take this board into the pipe? Probably not. It's a little bit softer, it's friendlier, it's meant to be for a wide range of ability levels. Would it go into pipe? Sure. Would it hold an edge? Sure. Not really something you're going to want to take fast speeds launching out of a vertical wall. Overall, the Breezy rider was a fun experience. It was quick, it was sharp. That turning experience put an immediate smile on my face. Its edge hold was undeniable, and the softer flex of the board made that board easier to manipulate. The camber profile did feel pretty unusual out of the gate, and I never really was able to shake that insecurity. However, I kind of feel like if you rode this over and over and over again, gave this some time, that you could get used to how that camber profile was and really let the board kind of do its thing. Is it something that I'm particularly fond of? Maybe not. I think I'd stick with a regular camber, but for that beginner to intermediate to advanced rider that's looking to keep a board on mostly groomed to maintain terrain, this is a wonderful freestyle board. Please support us by clicking the likes, commenting, and if you need advice, follow the link. I am happy to help in any way I possibly can.